story begins with a 17-year-old pistol shooter named Kang, who was participating in the Olympics for the first time. His father was also present with him, who trained Kang. Kang performed very well and reached the top position in the early rounds, maintaining first place, but he made a mistake and dropped to the second spot. In the final round, Kang took his full time, then made a perfect shot and scored the highest possible points. After the match, Kang's family were enjoying themselves together. Kang was not at home when a mysterious man wearing black boots and black gloves arrived at the scene. He shot the entire family in their head and killed them all. In this shocking crime, Kang became the prime suspect. The pistol used in the murder was the same one used by Kang in the Olympics, and his fingerprints were found on it. Because of this, he was arrested. Prosecutor Han demanded the death penalty for Kang during the trial, believing that Kang had killed his own family. The situation enraged everyone. The scene then shifted to a girl named Yuri, a medical student studying at Myeongse University Medical Center. Her professor called her to his office and asked if her father was Oh Song-moo. His father was a famous manhwa artist currently working on a very popular series called W, which the professor himself was a big fan of. He expressed his wish to get spoilers of the next episode from her. He promised to let her participate in surgeries in exchange. Yuri didn't want to lose such a great opportunity, so she agreed, though she knew her father took his work very seriously and wouldn't reveal any story details. So she called her dad's assistant, who informed her that her father was missing since last night. Yuri rushed to her father's house, where she realized something was wrong, then revealed the biggest twist, that Kang's life and family's murder was actually part of the fictional storyline of W, the manhwa created by her father. The assistant told Yuri that Kang's character was going to be killed in the series, and they were working on that scene last night, but her father suddenly disappeared. Yuri started suspecting whether a hardcore fan of the series found out that Kang was about to die and possibly kidnapped her father. While the assistant tried to call the police, a bloody hand pulled her inside the screen. Yuri found herself standing on the terrace of a hotel in an unknown world. She saw a man there, badly injured, and noticed that he didn't have his phone. She rushed down and instructed hotel staff to call an ambulance. When she came back up, she realized the man was suffering from a condition where air fills the space between the lungs and chest wall. To treat it, a tube must be inserted in the chest, or the patient could die. Thinking quickly, Yuri grabbed a pen from a hotel staff member, took out the refill, and used it as a tube to insert into his chest, saving his life. Shortly after, the hotel manager came and spoke to Yuri. She gave him her card. When asked how she got there, even she didn't know that. Later, she came to know that the man she saved was none other than Kang, the fictional character from her father's W manhwa. Yuri was shocked to know that she is now in the webtoon. She vanished from the scene and returned to the real world. At the same time, her professor informed her that a new episode of W was released. When Yuri watched it, she was stunned. Everything she had just experienced appeared in that episode. In the next episode of manhwa, it was shown how Kang's case was ruled in his favor due to lack of evidence, and he was released. But he was devastated as his family was gone, and people treated him like a murderer. Fed up, he decided to end his life, but at the last moment, he changed his mind and decided to live, to fight, and to find the real killer. This became his new life mission. The story then jumped 12 years ahead, showing Kang as the successful owner of a large company. He was now a very crisp and mature man, but once again, he got injured. His secretary informed him that the girl who saved him had introduced herself as Yuri, but the hospital on her card didn't exist, and both her email ID and phone number were fake. Everything seemed mysterious. Kang ordered his team to track this girl down, believing she could give him a new purpose in life. On the other hand, Yuri watched the new episode and wondered why Kang said such things. What was really going on in his mind? Then she called her father's assistant, trying to explain that maybe her father didn't disappear, but entered the world of the manhwa, but the assistant didn't believe her. Just then, her father returned home. Yuri heard it on the call and rushed to meet him. She explained everything as how she got pulled into the comic world, saved a life, and returned. But her father told her it was all her imagination and that nothing like that ever happened. But her father was hiding a huge secret. He had decided to go into the manhwa world to kill Kang himself. His desperation raised a serious question. Why was he so determined to kill Kang? Later, Yuri overheard the assistant mentioning that her father really planned to kill Kang. She tried to stop him, knowing Kang wasn't just a comic character anymore, he was alive. but her call got disconnected and Yuri got pulled back into the fictional world once again. She ran to the hospital trying to find Kang's life, only to witness a nurse secretly trying to inject potassium chloride into Kang's IV to kill him. Yuri stopped her just in time and saved Kang. The nurse ran away before police arrived. Later, Yuri requested a private conversation with Kang. She tried to convince him that if he let her go this time, she would return and answer all his questions. He agreed and said they would meet again once he was completely recovered. She took his phone and prepared to leave, hoping this time the episode would finally end and she would return to the real world. But things didn't go as expected. Yuri noticed that time started passing very quickly in between. Then she received a call on the same phone Kang gave her. It was a call from Kang himself. He asked her where she was and then arrived at her location. It appeared that Kang was fully recovered. He informed her that it had been 2 months since they last met in the hospital. This completely shocked Yuri. She wondered if she had really gone missing from the real world for 2 months. Kang observed that she was still wearing the same clothes from their last meeting, so he took her to a boutique. Yuri kept thinking about why the episode still wasn't ending. Then she remembered that this was part of a drama series, and that every episode needed a climax to end. She stepped out of the changing room and slapped Kang, assuming it would serve as the climax and trigger the episode's ending. But when nothing happened, she kissed Kang. This time it worked, and the words, "To be continued," appeared on the screen. She quickly returned to the changing room because she didn't want to suddenly vanish in front of everyone. When Kang entered, she had already disappeared. Yuri then went to the hospital and was told that she had been gone for only 30 minutes. She figured out that time moved very closely between the real and imaginary worlds. She also realized that everything she experienced was already released as the latest episode. That episode had reached the editor far earlier than expected. She was confused because her father hadn't even completed half of the episode yet. His father was furious and decided to complete the episode herself and send it to the editor, asking them to delete the one that was sent earlier by mistake. He told his assistant that the new version would be sent and insisted that this should be the final episode, which he would complete on her own. Yuri called her father and explained everything again that had happened to her. And this time, her father didn't try to deny anything, knowing she already knew the truth. He admitted that Kang was now changing his own story. At first, it didn't make sense to them, but now they understood everything. Kang had become like a monster, and before he could kill them, they needed to kill him. They decided to end the series by making Kang die in a car accident. As Kang drove, the story started changing on its own. Kang managed to survive the crash and saved himself. He stepped out of the car and demanded to know who was behind all of it. At the same time, Yuri went to his father's house and his assistant noticed that she was wearing the same dress that the girl wore in the episode. The assistant also got to know about everything. To figure things out, Yuri tried to explain that Kang was not an ordinary cartoon character. He was a living being like them. She said that everything inside the YW world revolved around Kang. The thoughts of other characters were never shown, only Kang's were. She pointed out that when Kang wasn't doing anything important, time sped up and only the crucial scenes were shown. Whether Yuri appeared in that imaginary world or not depended entirely on Kang's emotions. If there was a surprise or a shock for Kang, the episode would end and Yuri would return to the real world. She checked her father's belongings and found out that after her parents' divorce, the bond between her father and mother had weakened, so he had decided to end the series by making Kang die by suicide. It turned out that this was the very scene shown in episode 1 of Manhwa, where Kang was seen jumping into the river. But the next day, in the storyboard, he was shown hanging from a bridge. He thought maybe he created this scene while he was drunk, so he made up her mind not to let Kang die and decided to continue the story instead. From that day, W became Korea's best-selling series, breaking all records. Yuri's father became very popular and started receiving attention even outside Korea. But as the story continued changing, he realized that it wasn't him, but Kang who was altering everything. This was the reason her father wanted to eliminate him, fearing that one day Kang might enter the real world and cause irreversible damage. Yuri suddenly vanished again, returning to the fictional world. She reappeared in the exact same changing room from where she had disappeared earlier. Kang took her to his hotel where he was staying. At night, Yuri started talking in her sleep. Kang discovered that she somehow knew things about his family, that he put a gun under his pillow and many more things that only Kang knows, which really shocked him. At that moment, a mysterious man wearing a black dress, the same one who had killed Kang's family, suddenly attacked him. Kang fought back bravely, but the man mysteriously disappeared. Later, Yuri regained consciousness and realized she was still in the imaginary world. She tried to surprise Kang again to return to the real world. First, she appeared nude in front of him. Then she tried threatening him at gunpoint, but neither attempt worked. Then Kang turned the situation and pointed the gun at her instead. He asked her how she disappeared from the changing room the last time. Yuri didn't answer. He asked her why she kissed him. She explained it was all just to disappear. Kang grabbed her and kissed her back, saying he wanted to see if she would disappear this time. Yuri explained that she could only disappear when there was a surprise or emotional shock in the scene. Kang asked where she would go once she disappeared. She didn't respond. He warned her that if she didn't answer, he would shoot her. Still, she remained silent. So, Kang shot her. But the bullet passed right beside Yuri and nothing happened to her, but due to the shock, she fainted. When she regained consciousness, Kang told her that he already knew nothing would happen because he suspected that Yuri was not from his world. Then Kang apologized to Yuri and said that if she wanted to go back into her world, she would have to answer all his questions. He explained that once he was surprised, she would be able to hear her world. But Kang's assistant advised handing Yuri over to the police. But Kang refused because he knew this would create more problems for Yuri. He wanted to protect her. Leaving her alone, Kang left for Busan to investigate his family case. Gradually, feelings began to grow between both of them. Meanwhile, Yuri's father breaks his computer screen in frustration, the same computer on which he used to draw the webtoon. He didn't know that his daughter was now living inside that very pattern. The reason for his frustration is that a year ago, Kang had started a crime-solving program, and the main motive behind it was to catch his family's murderer. For this program, he hired a team from South Korea's police force and named the channel W for You. Many crimes were exposed through this show, which increased Kang's reputation among the public. But despite all this, the culprit who killed his family had not yet been caught, and Kang was visiting the police station to check on the latest developments in the investigation. The manager then asked Yuri to take drinks to Kang's place, and she could not refuse. Kang lived in a penthouse located on the guest floor of a hotel, and above it was a restaurant. It turned out to be the same hotel where Yuri had once saved Kang on the terrace, though she wasn't aware of it. When she went there, the hotel staff recognized her and called the police. Actually, it was all planned by Kang's assistant to trap her. Yuri ran and called Kang to explain everything. Then Kang sent his car to rescue her, but it arrived late, and Yuri was caught by the police. When Kang found out that Yuri had been arrested, he became furious and fired his assistant, who was his childhood friend. This showed how important Yuri had become to him. During the interrogation, the cops asked many questions, but she couldn't answer anything. As a result, she was declared the prime suspect, and 2 days later, she was sent to a detention center. Meanwhile, Kang gave a press statement at the airport, declaring that Yuri was innocent, and he didn't attack her. Then he went to meet her. Seeing him made Yuri feel worse because she knew he was trying everything to save her. Kang requested that she answer his questions so that the story would move forward and she could return to her real world. But Yuri didn't want Kang to find out that he was just a cartoon character. She thought it would be very painful for any person to realize that all their life's problems were created by someone on a laptop. Yuri warned him that if she told him the truth, he might hate her forever. But when he pressured her, she finally told him that he was just a fictional character created by someone else. This revelation shocked Kang completely, and Yuri disappeared from that world and returned to the real world. Once back, she felt confident, though she kept thinking about what Kang must be going through. As usual, a new episode of W was uploaded as soon as Yuri returned. She began looking for her father, believing he was the only one who could fix things, but she couldn't find him. Then, her father's assistant told her that they should end the W series, because Yuri was now a culprit in the imaginary world and the police were searching for her. If the series continued, she might either be captured and spend her life in jail or remain hidden forever. Her father tried to end the series, but suddenly the screen froze. Inside the imaginary world, everything stopped except for Kang. He noticed a strange portal open up in front of him. He recalled that a similar portal had appeared during the terrorist attack when Yuri was pulled into the webtoon. This portal connects the imaginary world to the computer where the W series was being drawn. Kang took a nearby security guard's gun and stepped through the portal into the real world. Kang entered a departmental store and found several W comic books. Seeing his own life in those comics devastated him, but it confirmed that Yuri was telling the truth. At the same time, Yuri was getting ready to leave for her surgery when her friend informed her that someone had come to see her. When she looked, she saw that it was none other than Kang. She was shocked and couldn't believe her eyes. She wondered how he reached the real world. Kang explained everything to her. Eventually, he realized that Yuri hid the truth for his own good. Kang fell for her and kissed her. Yuri was shocked, but he told him to stay with her for a while because she had the important surgery. She left quickly to wrap up her work. Meanwhile, Kang went to the house of the writer who wrote W. Butty. It didn't know that it was Yuri's father. When Kang entered the house, no one was there. But he saw a photo frame and realized that Yuri's father was the one who created the entire world. Yuri immediately came outside after her surgery, but she was quite worried because Kang suddenly disappeared. So Yuri texted her father and asked where he was. At that moment, Kang was at Yuri's home with her father. Her father saw Yuri's text and tried to call her, but before she could answer, Kang appeared in front of them. Her father looked shocked upon seeing Kang. Then, Kang made a big revelation, saying that during the terrorist attack, the same portal had appeared. But before pulling Yuri inside the portal, Kang pulled her father. Wen-sen didn't want her family to continue studying in Goya with the monks. He stabbed him with his own hands to kill him. Yuri was listening to all of this conversation because her father called her before he saw Kang. She got worried because she knew that Kang could say anything in rage, so she called the assistant to go to his father's house. She left to meet them, and the call was still ongoing, so she was hearing the entire conversation. Yuri's father told Kang that he feared him, and so had tried to kill Kang in the serial. Because of all this, he started living under constant stress and wanted to end the W series. He said that to Kang he was no more than a cartoon character. Then Yuri's father asked Kang to shoot him if he wanted to, but also said he wouldn't be able to do it because he was created that way, a righteous man who won't harm anyone. Kang became angry at hearing this, but controlled himself. Then he told him to fix everything that had gone wrong there. Kang also wanted to know the real killer who murdered his family, but Yuri's father revealed that the real murderer didn't exist. The villain was only added to make the storyline more interesting and to make the main character appear stronger. The villain didn't have any identity because no identity was ever given to him. This broke Kang completely because his only purpose in life was to catch the person who killed his family. But now that he realized the person didn't exist, it meant he couldn't catch anyone. Furious, Kang pointed a gun at Yuri's father. Meanwhile, she was listening to everything through the call and became extremely scared. But Kang still didn't shoot. Yuri's father said again that he couldn't be killed because he had created Kang to be like this. Hearing this, Kang finally lost control, and in anger, he shot Yuri's father. Yuri arrived just then and was terrified after seeing her father in that condition. Her father was taken to the emergency trauma center. The university professors refused to let Yuri participate in the surgery because she was a family member and her emotions could interfere with medical treatment, so she was not allowed to assist during the operation. While waiting outside, the assistant informed her that Kang was the one who shot her father. By the time he reached his house, he was already gone. Then she received a call from the publishing company saying they received a new and strange episode of the W series, but it hadn't been uploaded yet. Yuri asked them to send it to her. From the episode, it was revealed that everything happening now had already been written in the script earlier. Kang was shown losing hope, searching for his family, and even becoming a killer. The editing clearly showed someone had planned this ahead of time. Yuri kept reading and saw that in the upcoming scene, Kang was supposed to kill himself, so he jumped in the river. She was extremely scared after seeing this. She rushed to the bridge, but it was already too late. Everything that was happening had already been written the night before, and now nothing could be changed. Still, she wondered if a part of her heart continued to love Kang. Yuri's father regained consciousness and realized that the final episode of the W series had leaked. It contained all the footage, the conversations with Kang, real-world interaction, and how he shot them. Realizing they needed to explain, they decided to lie and say that Yuri's father was suffering from depression for a long time and had written this episode before attempting to end it himself. Kang has nothing to do with him. Some time passed, and Yuri's father recovered significantly. He also stopped drawing. People were very disappointed with the delay of the W series. The editor visited again and asked him to continue the series, but he refused, saying he didn't want Yuri to suffer again. Yuri appears strong, but deeply misses Kang. Later at home, her father mentioned that Kang was an excellent shooter who never missed a shot, especially when standing so close. If he didn't fatally shoot her father, it meant he probably didn't want to kill him. So Yuri decided she would revive Kang using a tablet and bring him back. But for some reason, she was unable to do it. A few days later, she went out with friends. They teased her about being single, but she still went along. Suddenly, while she was in the washroom, everything froze, and she realized she had returned to the imaginary world. She was in the water and understood the situation and tried to save Kang. Eventually was not successful, but when she came back to the real world, she found out that the episode was to be continued. It means Kang was alive, but his body was trapped in the water. She told his father's assistant that he should try to save Kang, and the assistant made a boat that would save Kang. But still, Yuri was not able to go to the webtoon world. Suddenly, the assistant remembered something her father told her long ago. At the same time, Kang was shown sinking underwater. A boat passed by with people inside, and they rescued him. Yuri also had returned to the exact same place in the real world from where she had disappeared, meaning she was still in the prison. But before reaching the webtoon world assistant, the assistant told her that a long time ago her father once told him something that, when Yuri was very young, she was the one who drew the character of Kang for the first time. That very drawing gave her father the inspiration to create the character of Kang, who later became the main character of the W series. Then, the scene shifts to a flashback where Yuri, as a teenager, was sitting with her friends watching the Olympics. There, she saw a real-life sports shooter named Kang who inspired her deeply. From that moment, she got the idea for a character, a tall, muscular, handsome boy with a good heart who was excellent in both studies and sports, especially shooting, and who would participate in the Olympics while still in high school and go on to win gold medals. This character wasn't anyone else, but it was Kang himself. Her father made the webtoon based on him and always drew Kang as the main character. In fact, it was Yuri who first drew Kang's character. Her father's assistant worked more like a support artist, drawing Kang's house, his car, and the hospital background. As for Yuri, even though it was very difficult for her because she was very young when she first drew Kang, she still succeeded after several attempts. When Kang regained consciousness, he found out that when he jumped into the river, a boat happened to pass by at that exact moment. Luckily, there were 2 divers on board who jumped in and saved his life just in time. He also learned that the police had caught Yuri and she was being transferred from the Seoul Detention Center to the Seoul Police Station for investigation. Kang went to meet Yuri and she explained everything about how she saved his life. Then she asked him for a favor and that she wanted Kang to help her get out of jail legally. Yuri, handcuffed and sitting in a prison van, was on her way to jail, but there was still a smile on her face, the smile of someone who had saved her lover and given him a new life. The next day, Kang went to the station to meet her. Yuri became very happy upon seeing him. It seemed like they might confess their feelings to each other, but nothing of that sort happened. Kang asked her why she saved him when he wanted to die. He said that back when he wanted to live, her father tried everything to kill him, and now that he wanted to die, she brought him back to life. He questioned whether his life was just a joke to them. He asked who gave her the authority to control his life. Hearing all this, tears filled Yuri's eyes. She never imagined, even in her dreams, that Kang would misunderstand her intentions and feelings in this way. She could no longer stop her tears and shouted at Kang that she loved him. Upon hearing this, Kang's emotions changed because he never expected such a response from her. As soon as his feelings shifted, Yuri suddenly disappeared from there. Kang then realized his mistake, that he misunderstood Yuri's intentions. She was only thinking about him. That was why Yuri got pulled back into the webtoon world, because she was no longer a side character in the webtoon. She had now become the main character. Then caught her and kissed her. He didn't need to say anything to express his feelings. That night became the most beautiful night of Yuri's life. Even though she was sleeping on the prison floor, just being in Kay's world made her happy. The next day, Kang sent his lawyer to meet her. The lawyer told Yuri that they would present her and Kang as a married couple, that they met during a business trip and got married in Chicago a year ago. He said their marriage was also registered in the US and that all the legal documents would be prepared accordingly. He added that they would claim Yuri was with Kang when he was attacked on the terrace, which was why she didn't reveal her identity during interrogation. Yuri was quite shocked after hearing this, But they didn't have any other option. After completing all the paperwork, Yuri moved into Kang's house. That night, Kang and Yuri spent a lovely time together. Both of them wore wedding rings. Seeing them together, it didn't feel like their marriage was fake. Kang also treated her with sweet gestures that felt like real couple goals. Everything was going perfectly. Just as they were sharing a private moment in their room, Kang's guard came in and informed him that his bodyguard was calling him to the terrace. When Kang reached there, the bodyguard told him that his personal assistant had resigned from her job. She had been harboring feelings for Kang for a long time, and now that he was legally married to Yuri, she could no longer continue like this. That's why she sent her resignation letter. Then the bodyguard told Kang something very strange. He said that when he met her, he noticed that her shadow kept disappearing in between. But he assumed it was just an illusion and didn't pay much attention to it. That night, when Yuri was asleep, Kang received a call. It was from the same killer who killed his entire family 10 years ago. The killer asked how Kang came back into this world and said he couldn't die before finding him. This made it clear that the killer also knew about the existence of the two worlds. But how? The killer told Kang that Yuri was his next target. He said he would kill her the same way he killed Kang's entire family, by shooting her right through the middle of her forehead. Hearing this terrified Kang. He couldn't understand why this killer returned after 10 years. He was very worried about Yuri and told her that he was going to take her to a fancy party at the Blue House so she should pick out a nice dress. While Yuri went to choose the dress, Kang's bodyguard called him and informed him that the number from which the killer called did not actually exist. But this didn't surprise Kang at all, because he already expected something like that to happen. Kang then began writing a report about the killer. He wrote that the killer had no face or identity because the god of this world, the creator of the webtoon, meaning Yuri's father, did not assign any identity to him. That killer appeared only when the storyline required him. He could appear anywhere, anytime, to kill, and could disappear without leaving any trace. While Kang was thinking about all this, Yuri arrived to show him her dress. Just then, Kang suddenly heard the sound of a bullet being fired. He saw that someone fired a bullet through the window and it hit Yuri directly in the center of her forehead. Kang became terrified, but it was just his dream, and Yuri was completely fine. Kang hugged her tightly because now Yuri was the only one left in the name of family, and he never wanted to lose her. Later, Yuri had a dream in which she was dancing with Kang at the party, and they were sharing some beautiful moments together. But then, she suddenly woke up. Kang came in and told her that he couldn't take her to the party because her life was in danger. He explained everything to her. How after 10 years, the same killer had contacted him and also threatened to kill Yuri. Yuri told Kang that there was no need to be afraid because last time when Kang shot her, the bullet passed through her and nothing happened. She said she was immortal in this world and that Kang should not worry. Then she relaxed and went to make noodles for him. While cooking, Yuri accidentally cut her finger with a knife. Kang saw that blood was coming out of her finger and became extremely worried. Seeing her bleed meant that now if someone shot her, she would die. It meant she was no longer immortal in this world. Shocked by all this, Kang's emotions changed, and because of that, Yuri disappeared from there and returned to the real world. Both Yuri and Kang couldn't understand what had changed or how it was possible. Yuri tried to call her father, but since he was on a flight for a vacation, his phone didn't connect. The next day, Kang received a call from his assistant. She was drunk and was sharing her feelings with him while intoxicated. During their conversation, she noticed that she was slowly disappearing. Seeing this, she got scared and started screaming. Kang heard her scream and rushed to her place. Kang began to think that every character in the webtoon existed with a specific purpose. His purpose was to catch the killer of his family, and maybe when a character's purpose ended, they started to disappear. His assistant was originally the female lead of the webtoon, but now Yuri had become the female lead and also his wife, so the assistant no longer had any purpose in the story. That was why she was gradually disappearing. Then Kang wondered why the killer was not disappearing. He thought that maybe the killer also found out about the real world, just like he did. Just as Kang came to the real world through the gateway portal, the killer must have done the same, and just like Kang, the killer might have realized that everything was just a webtoon. But no one wanted their identity revealed more than the killer. That was why, during the call the previous night, the killer told Kang that he could not die before finding him. The killer actually wanted Kang to uncover his identity so that he too could get a fixed identity like the rest of the webtoon characters. He had now become a core part of the story. A while later, a call came to the landline at Yuri's father's house. The call was from none other than the killer. After some searching, he had found the number of the W series writer and called Yuri's house. When Yuri picked up the phone, he figured out that she was the daughter of the writer and the same Yuri who was married to Kang. He had found all this out by reading the webtoon. The killer asked her how she came from the webtoon world to the real world. Hearing all this, Yuri got very scared and hung up the phone. She took her father's assistant and left the house. Just a few seconds after they left, the killer arrived at the house but didn't find anyone inside. However, it didn't take him long to track them down. He appeared right in front of their car. He fired a bullet at Yuri, and just as it was about to hit her, Yuri disappeared from the real world and reappeared directly in Kang's car in the webtoon world. Meanwhile, the killer disappeared from there and arrived at Yuri's house in the real world to find her father, but he was currently on a flight to New Zealand. Meanwhile, Kang comforted his personal assistant and reassured her that she still meant the same to him. After putting her to sleep, Kang started writing something for Yuru's father and saved it in a drive. But instead of taking her home, Kang took Yuri to the terrace of the building. There he asked her for a promise. He told her that after she returned to the real world, everything from the moment they first met, on that very terrace where she saved his life, till now should be turned into just a dream that Kang would never remember. That was the only way to fix everything, to stop the killer from going into the real world, and to prevent his friends from disappearing. Hearing this, tears filled Yuri's eyes because she had shared so many sweet moments with Kang. But after this, he would forget everything, including her. Still, this was the only way to make things right, so she agreed. Kang gave her a drive and then jumped off the terrace. He did this so the episode would end at that point and Yuri would return to the real world. Just as she had promised Kang, she turned everything into a dream after returning to the real world. Later, Kang was shown waking up on the same day when he was admitted to the hospital. There were tears in his eyes, but he didn't know why. He had forgotten everything completely. Meanwhile, Yuri's dad came back to Seoul. On his way, he read the recently uploaded episode of the W webtoon and then went straight to meet Yuri. Since she was sleeping, he didn't wake her. Then he recalled seeing a drive in the webtoon, the one Kang asked Yuri to give to her father, and he started looking for it. That drive actually contained a message for Yuri's father, in which Kang suggested that the W series should end with a happy ending. Because if Yuri's dad, again, tried to kill Kang in order to finish the webtoon, then Kang would resist him again, and once more Yuri would be dragged back into that world to save him, repeating the same painful loop. But by ending it happily, the killer would be caught, all chances of him returning to the real world would be erased, and the webtoon could end peacefully. Later at night, when Yuri woke up, she found herself in the webtoon world. She saw that Kang was still asleep, probably dreaming about her subconsciously, which could be why she was pulled into that world again. Tears came into her eyes as she looked at Kang. She felt happy just getting the chance to see him. Then she was pulled back to the real world. In 2 months, she had only entered the webtoon world 3 times, and even those were just for a few minutes. One day, as Yuri was preparing for surgery, her wedding ring slipped from her hand. When she bent down to pick it up, she accidentally bumped into a man, and that man was none other than Kang. She didn't even realize when she had moved from the real world into the webtoon one. Kang picked up the ring and handed it to her, then walked away. He didn't remember her at all. Yuri kept staring at him. Kang couldn't understand why this girl was looking at him so intently. Then Yuri returned to the real world. She couldn't hold back her tears anymore and cried a lot. She just couldn't forget Kang. But now, Kang didn't even remember her name, which hurt her even more. She thought about all the moments she had spent with him and wept. Then Yuri's dad resumed working on the webtoon, since he was the only one who could end the story. Sometime later, Yuri's father's assistant informed her that he had decided to end the webtoon with a happy ending and had already planned the rest of the storyline. But the most important task was designing the killer's face. It had to be someone Kang would instantly believe could be the killer, without a shred of doubt, and there was only one such person. It turned out Yuri's dad gave the killer his own face. There was a major reason behind this. Back on the terrace, when Kang was attacked by the killer and a gateway portal opened, Kang had pulled Yuri's dad into it. After that, Yuri's dad stabbed Kang in an attempt to kill him. That memory was from before Kang ever met Yuri. All memories beyond that point were created by Yuri as part of a dream. So when Kang would now see the killer's face, that moment would come back to him, and he would immediately accept that man as the killer without any hesitation. Yuri's dad planned to catch the killer in the same way. On the night Kang was attacked on the hotel terrace, a delivery truck had come to drop off some goods. The truck's security camera recorded a man climbing down from the terrace. When Kang saw that footage, he would recognize the man and remember the incident from that night. The suspect's photo would then appear everywhere in the press, and eventually he would be caught. The killer would then confess to his crimes, saying he killed Kang's entire family 10 years ago and also attacked him that night on the hotel terrace. His motive would be jealousy. He would reveal that he was a shooting athlete on the same team as Kang's father. Because of Kang's dad's exceptional shooting skills, he advanced, while the killer remained behind. The killer started to view him as an enemy and believed he lost all opportunities because of him. On the night of the murders, he went to Kang's house for revenge, killed his father, and wiped out the entire family. During the investigation, the police would find the same gun at his home that was used to kill Kang's family, along with the same knife used in the terrace attack. When Kang met the killer at the police station, the killer would try to provoke him, describing in brutal detail how he murdered his entire family. Kang, filled with rage, would begin to beat him, and that moment would prove that Kang had fully accepted him as the killer. Yuri's dad's main motive was to kill the killer so that in the future there would be no chance of him entering the real world. That was why he thought of including Han in the upcoming storyline. Han was the same prosecutor who 10 years ago handled the murder case of Kang's family and claimed that Kang was the real murderer. He even demanded the death penalty for him. Han had become a politician by then, and elections were soon going to be held in Seoul. When he saw the news that Kang's family's murderer was caught, he believed that it might badly affect his election chances, and people might say that he didn't investigate properly 10 years ago and blamed poor Kang instead. And planned to have the killer eliminated, he decided to hire a hitman who would push the killer off a building, and before doing that, he would make the killer hold a will in his hand which would state that he wasn't the real killer and Kang bribed him into confessing. After all this, the police would catch Han too and send him to jail. That was how Kang would finally get justice. Then Yuri asked her dad's assistant how her dad was planning to end the story. She wondered whether Kang would marry the assistant in the end. The assistant replied that nothing like that would happen. In the end, there would just be a hint that maybe something could happen between them in the future. Hearing that Kang would fall in love with someone else, Yuri felt very hurt. Later, Yuri was quietly cutting out all the moments she spent with Kang from the comic and sticking them on the wall of her room. Because she didn't have even a single photo of them together. Her mother scolded her for this and told her she should find a real boyfriend instead of putting up Kang's photos. But they couldn't understand that Kang wasn't just her boyfriend, he was her husband. That night, Yuri was at the hospital feeling very lonely, most likely because she was just missing Kang. She placed the WOB comic book over her head and cried a lot. Just then, there was an announcement in the hospital that many injured people were admitted together, and doctors were urgently needed. As Yuri stepped out of the room, she saw Kang's bodyguard and assistant and realized she was again in the webtoon world. When she checked the news, she saw that someone had opened fire randomly inside the W recording studio, injuring several people. The culprit still wasn't caught. She noticed that many patients had been admitted in critical condition. At that moment, a man held her hand to stop her. It was Kang. Yuri just kept looking at him, as if the entire world froze. Kang took her to one of the injured patients and asked her to treat him because she was wearing a doctor's coat and he thought she worked at the hospital. Then the scene shifted. Yuri's dad's assistant entered his room and saw that her dad's face was missing. The assistant was so frightened by this that he fainted. It was then revealed that at the W recording studio, when they were showing the suspect's photo related to Kang's family's murder case, a man came in and suddenly started firing at everyone. That man was none other than the real killer, who now had Yuri's dad's face. In front of everyone at the studio, he proudly confessed that he was the real killer and he killed Kang's entire family. After killing so many people, he vanished before the police could arrive. Since the recording wasn't live, when the killer revealed his face to the camera and confessed to his crime proudly. Once that footage reached the media, the news got covered everywhere. Yuri also saw this news in the webtoon world. After seeing all that, she realized that her dad's plan to catch and kill the killer completely failed, and now a very dangerous killer was roaming freely in the webtoon world.